welcome back to Sundays in the Garden. If you're new here, my name's Sarah and on my channel I share everything I'm getting up to in my English cottage garden and allotment. I share a weekly video every Sunday including things like garden jobs we can be doing at different times of the year, seeds I'm showing, as well as weekly garden vlogs and tours. If that sounds like something you'd be interested in, I would love for you to subscribe as I've got so many exciting plans this year and I would love to take you along. We are building such a lovely community here and I really appreciate all of your support and your really helpful comments. It's so lovely to have you all as we share our knowledge and passion for gardening. In today's video, I'm going to share with you how the garden and allotment area is looking in the month of March 2024. There is so much happening, the weather is starting to warm up, the rain is finally starting to go, I hope, and things are really starting to burst into life, so there's lots to see. I'm so excited about what's to come in the garden this year, but without further ado, let me take you and show you what's happening in the garden and allotment area in the month of March 2024. So the first thing I'm noticing is all the beautiful magnolia blossom over there and just how much greener everything's looking out here. It looks so lovely. Coming around to this viewpoint now, you can see I've now put up all of my lovely rainbow pots that my sister got me for Christmas, and I've got some lovely violas in there and little primroses and things like that, so it looks really cute and I'm really pleased with how they look. I'll probably swap those out throughout the year in terms of things like some herbs close to the house and that kind of thing. Coming down here, you can see I've now staked this blueberry plant and it's looking really great. It's put on loads more growth since the last monthly tour. All these lovely blossoms now coming, so this is where the fruit will appear in a few months' time, and I'm thinking that's going to be really lovely this year. And the other two plants are looking great. They're a bit later fruiting, so they're a bit further behind, but all looking like they're putting on lots of good growth. Over here you can see one of my lovely climbing roses. This is a red variety, looking beautiful, starting to put on some lovely fresh healthy leaves, so I think that's going to be beautiful and I look forward to seeing that one in a few months. Coming back to this viewpoint again, you can see all of my pots. This is where the dahlias are going to go later in the season, and I've got to tidy up those pots. The black pots are going to be for my potatoes, because I'm going to grow lots of things in pots as well as in the beds at the back this year. These are my spring bulbs. I'm really pleased with them. People who've been following me for a while will remember me planting these. That was my bulb lasagna. So I've got daffodils, crocuses and tulips in there. The crocuses are finished. The daffodils are just coming up, and the tulips are down there ready to come after the daffodil. I've then got another pot of daffodils here which look really lovely and they're going to be coming soon. They're not flowering as early as the daffodils in my border further up, but they're doing well. These are my tulips that I've planted. They're doing about the same as the ones up in the border and they'll be here in a few months' time. The hyacinths are looking great. Actually, they're nearly finished now. The smell of these is absolutely wonderful. When I planted them, I wasn't sure what the colours were, so we ended up with 3 of the bluey purple variety and 1 white one. And then down here are some bulbs that I left in the garage, forgot that they were there, realised they were starting to shoot a few weeks ago and popped them in a pot to see what would happen, and lo and behold they're coming. These are daffodils, they're just a bit behind the other ones, but I think they'll flower. And the same with these, they're muscari bulbs. They're very much behind the rest of the grape hyacinth muscaris that I have further up, but we're going to see how they do because they were starting to shoot. I didn't want to waste them, so we're going to keep them in here and see if they keep going. So I think this area is looking really lovely. Actually, I'm really pleased with it. It's looking really pretty, and I think I would like to maybe double, triple or quadruple the amount of spring bulbs I have next year. Coming over here now to the clematis, it is starting to shoot really nicely. I can see even on the bits that aren't looking so healthy or, well, there are shoots, as you can see here. And a bit further up, there's all these shoots coming from areas that look like there is no life. So we're just going to leave it for a bit, see how it does. As you can see, there's some more here, just kind of appearing. So we'll see how it does this year, bless it. It's been rather abused and moved around as things have changed in the garden, but it's still there, and so we'll see how it does and hopefully we'll get some nice flowers. Yep, so now let's turn back to this side of the garden, over towards the pond area, and see what's going on down here. First of all, we have the 3 fruit tree pots that were given to me by my mother-in-law. This is the pear tree, which is now in blossom. Lovely to see the flowers appearing, so hopefully we may get some pears on here. I know they need pollinators and other fruiting trees in the garden at the same time, so I'm not sure how these will do. but we'll see. We have the apple tree here, which is just starting to shoot, and same with the cherry tree over there. We can see the first few shoots. Now we're over here with this viewpoint, and you can see all of the geraniums have taken over, to be honest, so I might have to sort of clear these back a little way just to allow space for everything else around it to continue to grow and thrive, and there is a path down there as well. Over here we can see some peonies now really starting to come to life. They are rather overshadowed by the plants above them. They do seem to continue to grow despite their position, but I may cut back some of this growth above them. Then as we come over here to the left of the pond, all the lovely little primroses are starting to flower under here. They've all kind of self-seeded, I think, to be honest. They've been there a long time, but they look really pretty. And then we're back to just seeing this viewpoint here, which is lovely, all looking much greener than last month. Now we're back down here with the lavender, which is just starting to put on its new green growth of the year. People who've been following me for a while will remember this lavender has got very woody, but it was the lavender I used in my wedding confetti. So I really would like to propagate from this. I've got some propagated shoots up in the greenhouse. I'm going to take a few more cuttings as well in the next few weeks to make sure that I can continue this family of lavender in my garden for many years to come. This area is looking rather overgrown, so I'm going to cut back some of these perennials just to tidy it all up, but otherwise looking lovely. Standing up here, we come along to the pond itself. The pond, I'm going to lift up this netting and just clear out some of the debris at the top. It's not too bad, and to be honest, this pond takes care of itself. It's been a wonderful little ecosystem since we've moved in. I've already seen some newts in here this year. I have seen frogs in here this year, and a toad, I believe. So yes, the animals and the wildlife around it thrive, despite me doing little to it. So it just does look after itself, really, which is wonderful. It's a really peaceful and tranquil part of the garden, and we absolutely love it. Moving up here now, you can see all of the muscari in their full glory coming up in this border. These muscari I did not plant. They've been here since we moved in, and that's 10 years ago now this year. And they look beautiful. It's a lovely area with all the roses and the centura cornflowers. There's some tulips and all sorts in here. So let's come down and have a look at these muscari close up. They're so beautiful, aren't they? They do spread rather, so if you don't love them, then be careful where you plant them. But I think it's beautiful here, a beautiful sea of muscari with some other things dotted amongst them. These are the centura cornflowers. They're sort of large cornflowers, beautiful, loved by the goldfinches. There's some wild tulips down there, and then at the back here we've got some red tulips. I didn't plant these, but they're beautiful. They were here when we moved in, so they have just stayed for the last 10 years as well. Over here I've got a new rose which I've just picked out and planted, and this rose is a pale pink variety. I can't remember the name. If I can, I'll pop it in the comments, but it's a beautiful one, and I thought it would look nice amongst the red rose there and the Roald Dahl peach coloured rose as a bit more of a subtle shade to tie the two together. But it looks really lovely, and I can't wait to see how it does this year. Over here we've got the Japanese meadowsweet, which some of you may remember I cut back a few months ago, and now it's starting to put on lots of lovely new green growth, and before you know it we'll have the lovely pink frothy kind of cotton wool type flowers, which are just so beautiful. And I use the seed heads in my Christmas wreath as well. Here we have some more centura cornflowers, again loved by the goldfinches when they go to seed later in the year, and just a beautiful area really. This brick border still needs to be put in, a job on my to-do list, but it will be done in the next few weeks, fingers crossed. Coming over now to the spring bulb area, the daffodils are now really coming into their own. We've finished with the snowdrops that were here and the irises that were here, and we are now into our daffodil season, and soon it will be all the bluebells. As you can see, there's lots of those as well. The euphorbia and a random single daffodil here, it's not going to stay. I'm going to clear that out and move it further up the garden so I can put lots and lots of primroses along this brick border at the front, because I think that would be really nice. There are primroses in this border, as you can see down here. That pot's there because is something dangerous, an old kind of metal object under there we can't dig out quite yet. And over there we have some more primula as well, so I'm going to try and get some more of those and put them along the border to look really, really lovely along here. So the euphorbia is going to move, but I'll explain more about that later. So yes, later in the year I want to have some primroses in here and some more bulbs to fill out this area of spring flowers, but it's looking lovely already. Down here we have the wild garlic, which is looking great. We've already eaten a little bit of this, and it's going to have a new home further up the garden in a few weeks' time once I sort that area out. More to explain on that in a minute. I want to fill this area with some hellebores. We are missing hellebores. We used to have lots before our new patio was put in. So this is going to be my hellebore area. So I'm waiting to see if we can get any on discount because it's coming to the end of hellebore season. So I'm hoping I might be able to find some in a garden centre for a nice cheap price to pop here for next year. Okay, coming over to this area of the garden again now. Let's have a look at the roses from this side. They are looking in great condition. The leaves are looking really healthy and they're really starting to grow quite vigorously now actually. This little rose here has already put on some new growth since I planted it, which was probably about 2 weeks ago now. But let's see how big that one gets this year. Here is my lovely solar watering can from my neighbours, so pretty in the evening. And the Roald Dahl rose here is looking really, really healthy. Lots of new shoots on here as well. So this one did fantastically last year. I can't wait to see how many blooms we get this year. I think it was its second year last year and it was just prolific. So can't wait to see. Up here we have my yellow climbing rose, well, first of my yellow climbing roses. Looking healthy as well. Lots of new green shoots, lots of lovely green leaves. Pleased to see that one's looking good. I think I might have to tie that in just here to the fence, so I might do that later on, just to give it some extra support and structure as the flowers come in. Over here we have another yellow rose of mine which did really well last year. Not quite as well as the one next to it, I don't think, but they both flowered quite nicely, so fingers crossed. Then we're looking at the garden from this angle again, and it's looking quite quiet, but we can now see the loosestrife really starting to grow up. Unfortunately, there are still lots of things I should really get out of here. They get hidden as soon as the loosestrife take over, but we've got a Lords and Ladies there, which I don't really want, so I'm going to remove that. Lots of green alkanet, which just takes over, so I might try and remove some of that. Bluebells, the alliums there can stay because they look beautiful. And I might try and get some more, to be honest, like I said before, I think in my last tour, to go next to the bench, because I think they'd be like a really lovely feature either side of the bench with the lovely tall structure of the alliums. Coming up the path, you can see lots of bare patches and lots of seed. I have put seed down, I have kind of embedded it in, I have put more seed on top. This was only a couple of days ago, so we are going to see how it does. I really hope that we get some new grass here. I will try some different things. Here we have more muscari underneath the tree, really, really pretty, and the crocuses, you can see here lots of the leaves from the crocuses last month, in last month's tour. We leave those in so they can feed the bulbs and spread naturally and naturalise in the lawn. And it's all really beautiful. Same with the muscari, really. They all just naturalise in that area. Looking back over here, we've got the bluebell dell, and they're all coming up really nice now. We've got the loosestrife hidden amongst them. So once the bluebells have finished, we are filled with loosestrife here. But it's looking great. I think it's going to be a good year for the bluebells here. And I look forward to showing you maybe next month, potentially at the end of next month, or we could be waiting till early the following month. Okay, so here we see a completely messy border. This will be part of a series later in the year, the Cottage Garden Border Series. At the moment, we have violas in here, we have geraniums in here, we have the barberus stump that I've cut back. We have another barberus over here, which I'm going to cut back by the fence, as you can see just there. It all needs to be cut back and sorted out because this is going to be filled with foxgloves and other cottage garden plants. We've got primroses there, we've got wild tulips there, we've got alkanet there, we've got bluebells, I can see, muscari. I don't know what we haven't got in this border really. There's some holly there as well. It's very chaotic and it needs a new lease of life. So the Cottage Garden Border Series coming up later this year. I mentioned earlier the euphorbia down at the bottom, which I don't want to be there. You can see it's all the way up here. It was kind of organised when we first moved in, but now it's just doing its own thing and naturalising and spreading. But I'm going to try to make a repeated pattern with the euphorbia along this border so that it can have a bit more sense. But yes, if you're interested in seeing this series, please subscribe, look out for it, it's coming soon. Okay, coming back up to this area of the garden now. We can see the decking area here, which is looking clear but needs a good pressure wash and clean up for the summer. Here we have a fairy garden that my two children were playing with and put together the other day, which is really sweet. And here there are 4 pots of verbena, and verbena are some lovely cottage garden border plants, so they're going over here in the new cottage garden border, which needs to be done in the next few weeks, or started in the next few weeks. Also in the new cottage garden border I have these foxgloves, and these are the apricot variety, so they're kind of that lovely apricot colour. And I've got for 6 of those there, so they're going to be dispersed amongst the border, and I'm hoping they're going to naturalise and seed as well. But I have got some baby apricot foxgloves in the greenhouse. I'll show you those in a minute. And then if we come round here, you can see the tulips now are starting to get bigger than they were when you last saw them last month. So I think probably a month and a half perhaps for these. We'll see. I'll keep you posted. If you follow me on Instagram, Sundays in the Garden on Instagram, you can see how they're doing there. I'll try and keep you updated. Over here I've planted 3 foxglove plants underneath this tree to make a sort of woodland dell. These aren't the apricot variety, they are purples and whites and things like that, so we'll see which colours they come out as, but I'm hoping they're going to seed there and create a kind of woodland dell over here with the foxgloves. I'm pleased with how this area is looking compared to where it was last year. If you've been following me for a while, you'll remember it was all rather tired. So before we go up to the allotment, I will take you into the greenhouse. Again, people who've been following me for a while, please don't judge the mess. It has got rather a lot messier than my greenhouse tidy and makeover tour. We'll have to do another one of those when I can tidy it all up. But there's lots going on in here, as you can see. So first of all, what can I show you? Let's have a look. So we have the potatoes, which I have in here, my first early potatoes, just starting to shoot now. As you can see, there's 2 seed potatoes per bag, and they are doing really, really well. This one here, as you can see, there's another shoot over at the back there. So despite there being 2 seed potatoes, this one has shot off a side shoot. So looking really lovely, doing well, and I'll be earthing those up when they get a bit taller. And looking forward to seeing those probably in about 8 or 9 weeks. My baby carrots are doing really well. These are the first early carrots again. I'm growing them in a tub. I need to thin them out once the true leaves start to appear. Here are some dahlias that I potted up in my last week's video. These are the ones that were stored in my garage over winter, and they're looking great. And I've potted up my brand new ones. They're inside at the moment, and I'm going to bring those out in a few days' time. Down here we have my cornflowers. These are so special to me. Let me talk you through this. So up here I have some seeds. These are the seeds that I collected from the flowers of the cornflowers I grew last year. And the reason they're so special is because my grandfather, who passed away 15 years ago this year, he sowed cornflowers for my mum, who loves cornflowers, and he sowed her them probably 5 to 10 years before he died. He would have started sowing these for Mum, and we collected the heads every year and re-sowed the seeds, so that the seeds, all the flowers we've grown, are related to those very first cornflowers he grew. So since he's passed away, we have continued this tradition and collected the heads of the cornflowers, sowed the seeds, and watched them come up every year. And it is lovely to see the seeds that are related to that first flower that he grew 20 to 25 years ago. Me and my mum always feel a bit emotional when we see the first cornflowers appear every year, as it reminds us of him, and they're planted in his memory. He was a wonderful person. He loved his garden, he loved nature, he loved his family. So really, really wonderful memories. Okay, so here you can see my onion sets. They're doing really well. I've got some onions up at the allotment area, but I am going to fill the gaps with those. And then we have the lettuce that I sowed a few weeks ago. You may have seen on my channel. We've got the white on the left there and the red lettuce on the right, looking lovely. I'll thin it out soon, eat the thinnings because they're really yummy too, and watch that grow on this year. That's great. And over here, let's see, what can I show you? We have the sweet peas that my youngest sowed on the left here, and my oldest sowed these ones up here. They were only sowed a few days ago. We'll see how they do. Over here, oh goodness, there was a pigeon. We have some very leggy sweet peas that I sowed a while back. They need to go into a pot as soon as possible, and I'll let those grow up just in a pot because we only have a few of them. Here are my Brussels sprouts. There are 6 of them. They are growing on nicely, and we will see, they'll be going out sooner, I imagine. These are my courgettes. I've got 4, but I only sowed them yesterday, so we'll see how they do. Up here, I have 3 aubergine plants. They get quite big, so I won't need more than that, but we'll see how they get on. In here, 1, 2, and 3 tiny verbenas. That's all that germinated in here, so we're going to see if I can get some verbenas that I've grown from seed. Cosmos up there. Down here are the foxgloves that I've sowed from seed. They're the same variety as the ones outside that are much bigger. There are some tiny little true leaves emerging. They are rather claustrophobic in here and need thinning out, but I want to see which ones get the strongest before I start thinning them out and then transplanting them. Hopefully they'll do okay. Here we have a Viola Blessed that I haven't found a home for yet, but we need to find somewhere for that. And in here are some Aquilegia, which I actually only sowed today. And these are lovely cottage garden flowers. Let me see if I can find the seed packet. Excuse my Blair Witch filming while I try and get the seed packet out of the seed pot. Let's have a look. Okay, here we go. So these are the Aquilegia, really frothy pink flowers, kind of cottage garden vibes, and I thought they'd look really nice in the cottage garden border, but we'll see how they do. Apparently they're okay in the shade, which is quite a shaded border, so that's why I chose these. Okay, finally in here we've got the lavender cuttings that I've taken, which are starting to get their first green shoots, much like the ones down in the garden area. So we'll let those grow on, but also I'm going to take some more cuttings to make sure I've definitely got enough plants to put in that area, and continue from the same family once again of the lavender plants. Okay, let's come up here now. Down here, what have we got? We've got a Alchemilla mollis that I don't know if it's alive or dead, so we pop it in this pot, and I'm going to see if we get any signs of life from it. It's been in a pot for a few years, but I really like it, so if it's alive, it's going in the cottage garden border. And in here, my boys have both planted some wildflower seeds. They wanted a little wildflower pot garden, they said, so we have let them pop those in there. We'll see how that comes on for them, bless them. And up to the allotment area. Okay, what's happening up here? So over here you can see the herb pots that I've planted up a few weeks ago, doing really well. We've chosen what we're going to put in them now. We've got rosemary, we've got sage, we've got oregano, we've got chives, we've got thyme here, and at the back there, coriander. All things that we use reasonably regularly in our cooking, so we've chosen those for now, but we may swap them out as we go along. Looking at the rhubarb, let's have a look at the one I forced under here. Oh wow, look at these. They look absolutely amazing. Oh my goodness me. Absolutely stunning. Look at the colours on there, and they're really getting quite large now. These are going to be picked this weekend, I think, and turned into some yummy crumble, or perhaps just with some custard. I'm sure they'll be that much more tender because they've been forced. Okay, looking at all the rhubarb, it's looking great, to be honest, and I think I'm going to move some of the crowns over there because one of my lovely subscribers suggested that would be a great spot for the rhubarb, and I completely agree, actually, because if we look over here at the strawberries, whilst they're doing well, they do need a tidy up and a bit of a clear up of the dead leaves and things. They are looking great, but it's a very small area for strawberries and we eat a lot, so I'm hoping to move the strawberries to this bed next year. So I'm going to trial one of the rhubarb crowns in its new home and hope that it does well, so that the strawberries can then be moved across to a larger growing space. Okay, oh, we can see here we still have a nemesis area. This all needs tidying up still, and it needs to be done soon because I don't really want the bed behind the strawberries to go to waste, because that seems just such a shame. So that needs sorting out. Garlic still doing really well, lovely green leaves, everything looking healthy here. And that's going to be a while before that gets harvested, but looking forward to seeing how those bulbs do. I'm not sure what's going here yet, still to be decided. Down here we have the baby onion sets that have been there for a little while, but there are some gaps where the onions didn't work out, so some of the onion sets that are in the greenhouse are going to come in and plug the gaps here. And then looking over at the leeks, we have 2 ginormous leeks, which were there last month, still need to be harvested. They look absolutely beautiful and delicious. And then someone said perhaps that we had allium leaf minor due to how small the others are looking. But I just think it's the soil quality, to be honest. They haven't bulked up, but they are starting to grow. They're not going to seed yet, so they're going to stay there because I think they may fatten up yet. So we're just going to give them a chance. If not, we'll remove them. But actually, there's no sign of damage to any of them. So allium leaf minor I don't think is an issue, but we'll keep an eye on them. Over here we have our broad beans. Someone commented back in November that it may not be the best time to plant them. But as you can see, they are doing well. I'm not sure what's happened to this one here. For some reason, this one isn't looking as happy as the rest. But besides that, they are all looking fine, getting a little bit munched, but still holding their own. And I think we'll get some lovely broad beans. They look about the same size as the broad beans I saw in the garden centre the other day, so that's great. Back area here is starting to grow up again. We need to get on top of that very soon. Taking a step back, what I've got planned this year for the back 2 beds is actually I've bought a double archway to go over the beds to grow my beans up, because normally the beans take up an entire half a bed at least of structure. So we're going to grow the beans over the path from these back 2 beds, which I think will look lovely. That'll probably be a video for a few weeks' time. But yes, allotment area looking lovely. One more bed to clear. That bed under there is clear. The bed on the other side still needs to be cleared. And then we'll have this lovely arch. Probably some pumpkins up here. My courgettes need to find a home, and the brassicas as well. This is an area I'm really proud of, and I can't wait to see how it develops in the spring and summer of 2024. I think it's going to be our best year yet. Down here, I am going to put all of the fruit and veg I'm growing in pots kind of around this area that needs clearing. I think it'll be a great space for it. And the potatoes are going up at the top of the garden near the new archway. I'll show you briefly the new rose that's down here. It's called New Dawn. It's David Austin. It needs training in a sort of diagonal pattern across here, horizontally, meaning that the shoots will grow up and we'll get lots and lots of lovely flowers. I'm going to train it in a zigzag pattern up here, and we'll see how high it gets this year. It's only its 2nd year, but it's lovely to see how it's doing so far. When I finish walking up the garden, I always kind of pause here and have a little look around and take a look back and just appreciate how lucky I am to have this space. It's such a beautiful, beautiful garden. We're just the caretakers of it, really, and I love to share it with you all. So thank you so much for your support and for watching. Next week, I'm going to post a few videos over the Easter weekend, so please like and subscribe if you'd like to see more from my lovely garden. Have a great week. Take care, and I'll see you soon.